Welcome to Brianstormed's video about zone entry in NHL 20. How often do you get into a match where your opponent just sets up along the blue line, 4 or 5 people there, and it gives you a whole lot of trouble? That's why in this video, we're just going to talk about the easy zone entries. We're just going to go straight in, no resistance. Just kidding, I'm here for you guys. By the end of the video, your success rate in entering the zone will be just like that yellow arrow. Alright, enough fun and games, let's get into NHL 20. What an oxymoron. Alright, let's begin with your opening draw. What I like to do here against most players is I tie them up and I pass it straight back to my defenseman and charge up along the boards. If there's no resistance, you calmly enter the zone. If there is, you center your pass and enter the zone from there. Once I enter the zone, there are a bunch of guys around me, so I made a pass to the winger along the boards. My other favorite play is as soon as I win the face-off backhand, the opponent usually charges at me, so I pass it back to my center, who's usually by himself to enter the zone. So I wanted to mention that zone entry is simply getting across the blue line successfully and, of course, giving yourself enough room to work with. The step after that is creating opportunities off the rush, that is actually being in the offensive zone and trying to figure out what to do. And the step before that, usually in the defensive zone, is breaking out of your zone. I'll have videos for you guys on those topics in the near future. Finally, one of my favorite blue line face-off moves to enter the zone is to tie the person up, then with my winger skate across the blue line, pull everybody in, and then pass it in the direction that I came from. On this play, Carlson is wide open to take this pass to go right in. A nice deke allows me to get this breakaway move. Now, you don't have to do that play just off of the faceoff because, as you see, I also do it here just as I exit the offensive zone. But now I want to talk about some general tips about entering the offensive zone that don't relate to these clips, and then after that, I'm going to go over specific plays that I use to enter the zone. So first off, you want to try to not directly carry the puck into the zone with a defender. It'll put them out of position and leave you a man down if you turn the puck over. If it's your only option or your best option, sure, go for it. However, do your best to take the extra time to give it to a forward before entering the zone. If the opponent isn't forechecking you, that is putting pressure on you trying to enter the zone, take your time. Hell, it could even take you the whole period to enter the zone. So what? The opponent hasn't had the puck that whole time. If it's a tie game, you're in the lead, or like a 1 or 2 goal difference, it's not going to hurt you so much. If you get desperate and there's still no answer to the trap, dump the puck in with a shot or pass along the boards and chase after it. Your strategies also need to be set up so that your players are going to be ready for the dump and chase. I go over that in a different video that's already out, but you guys can check that out if you want. In the real world, the best method against a trap is the dump and chase. The dump and chase just isn't as effective in this game, but if you want to try it, I would recommend a controlled breakout. That means start from your zone so that your players have momentum entering the offensive zone. Up next is a gorgeous play involving a drop pass to enter the zone. That'll be in my passing video. But what you normally want to do is pay attention to who the opponent is controlling. Skate away from that player and try to go toward the AI, as the AI is less likely to make a play. It may force your opponent to switch players and cause trouble by moving players away from you. For opponents that don't know how to pin you against the boards, which honestly is almost everybody outside of like the top 100, a great time to force a penalty is to go along the boards and stick handle behind you, making it impossible for the opponent to poke check you. Kind of along the same line, when we're talking about stick handling, when you're entering the zone with a lot of teammates with you, do your best to avoid stick handling or dekes until after the puck crosses the blue line. That is to avoid going offside. If you're by yourself, you're free to do as much stick handles as you want, except for the between the legs deke, because that's always an offside for some reason. Alright, those were my general tips. Now let's talk about tips specific to circumstances. This is also going to be another gorgeous zone entry, but keep in mind the offside indicator. Your AI players are still going to be stupid. Like, what was he doing there, just standing still as I'm trying to cross the blue line? I had to stick handle to my backhand with the right stick, just so that he could come back across and then I could cross the blue line. Here's another great case where the offside indicator helped me determine whether or not I could cross the blue line. I'm not always going to keep an eye out on the player that's offside before I enter. This play is also interesting because it's actually 2 zone entries. As soon as I take the puck away from him, I pick it back up and I go back in. It's a bit unrelated to the video, however, those zone entries where you come out and then back in are one of the best ways to create offensive opportunities. I probably won't be able to fit this in another video, so I'm mentioning this now. Watch what happens when I leave the zone and re-enter it. All of his defensive players are coming downward toward me. This is especially solid when playing against the AI because it generates easy breakaways. However, in this case, it didn't really turn into much of anything else, but again, it's much easier entering the zone and setting up opportunities. In this case, with Sundin, he gave me a prime shot right in the slot. This one's kind of borderline zone entry, but this guy had 4 players set up along the blue line while I was on the power play. While he did give me the space to actually cross the blue line, after that, they were all converging on me. Once I recognized that, I saw 4 players around me. I made a quick pass to my winger all alone on the right so that I could generate a play off the rush. This top player in the NHL community certainly loves his trap, as you'll always see 4 or 5 players along the blue line. Sometimes it can be a little sloppy, but making these quick passes to get into the zone can be just what you need to do so. Right after that, we got another clip with him. More quick passes, and then at the very end, I stall a little bit before actually entering the zone. And I still have enough time to take a decent slap shot at the net. But yeah, one thing I love about NHL 20 is how your players can actually receive those short, quick passes. In previous years, they wouldn't do that. Those passes would usually go right by their sticks. So definitely use that to your advantage in this game. Speaking of using things to your advantage, the L2 LT button, until EA does something about that, you might as well use it. It's a great way of protecting the puck if you just lightly hold it and then let go. It can cause easy tripping penalties if your opponent pokes at the wrong time. Your movement might also give them the impression that you're going one way, but you end up going another way. The way that I did this spin was I was skating to the top left, and when I held LT down just for a little bit, I started skating toward the right. That caused my player to do the 180 and then finish his 360 going toward the right. For this play, when I held down LT and let go, I just started skating downward a little bit just so that my player was in a better position to make the pass. If the puck was still above my player, it would have had a harder time getting to the pass recipient because it could have gone through my opponent's sticks and skates. And then in this play, I do it a little early to keep my opponent guessing as to what I'm going to do next. We just went over how I hit LT or L2 and skated toward the opposite direction. In this case, I skated in the same direction. And look at the movement my opponent did. He thought I was going to the left, gave me enough space to go to the right. Hopefully I didn't take it too far with those clips in showing how it can be abused. On the flip side, your zone entries may not be that pretty. And I'll be honest with you, half the time I make a play like this, I actually secretly hope it's going to end up like this. I enter the zone side by side with a teammate, and as soon as I get crunched with a hit, I pretty much pass it off to him. It sets up this great play, and honestly, it happens so frequently that I need to mention it. Another common trick that you can do when entering the zone is passing it ahead of a player who's entering the zone. As I do in this play, where I didn't cross the blue line, but I made that pass for someone who will be crossing the blue line. It's not an offside because the puck's gonna cross the blue line first, and then my player will. So keep an eye out on those players along the side who could be wide open, but you don't want to make the pass while they're still in the neutral zone because it'll be offside. We talked about LT being used to enter the zone. Well, this zone entry is based entirely off of the left stick. I'm moving to the top left. I see him coming toward me. I switch gears and move my left stick to the top right instead. It creates a pretty beautiful visual that makes it look like I broke his ankles. The last clip before we move on to the specific plays is this one. The reason why I'm showing this one is because if you get into a situation like this, one-on-one with the person, I'm using Marty St. Louis, I'm already facing forward, he's using a defender that's not Marty St. Louis, facing the opposite direction, I'm just going to skate straight forward, hold the left stick down, and I'm going to zoom right by him for the breakaway. Make sure you're not turning, you're not doing any kind of stick handles, and you're going to get by him. So one of my favorite plays in entering the offensive zone is to take a player and curl them either toward the boards or back toward your zone and then pass it up. What this does is it has a player chase after you like he does here, And then when you make the pass, your player has less resistance. He hasn't even switched players yet, and I'm already in his zone. Another one of my favorite plays is to pass it up, then right back, and then either across or back again, where again, you'll see much less people coming after you. By making these passes, you're making him move his players around, which causes less players of his to be along the blue line. It depends on the situation. A lot of times you can just pass it back and then forward to the same player. And in this case, I passed it across toward the open ice. This is another variation of curling inward. When I exit the zone, I skate toward the boards, have people chase me, and I make a pass. What comes after that is also nice. So yeah, this one has a mixture of like 3 or 4 different things that I talked about, which is what makes this play so great. Out of the zone, back in, skate toward the boards, make a quick pass. Then when I enter the zone, I'm getting swamped by players, so I pass it toward the open man. I did also do a little stick handle so that I could protect the puck before I make that pass. Finally, don't be afraid to pass it back to your defenseman and then pass it around for a little bit before entering the zone, as I do here. Similar to curling in with your player along the boards or back to your zone, in this case, I'm curling the puck toward my zone by making those passes, having him chase, then I pass it across and then up where I'll only see like 2 or 3 people. So yeah, those are my main set plays that I do when I try to enter the offensive zone. The last one was the parallel pass I mentioned earlier in the video, talking about offsite indicators. I probably could have put a little bit more of these clips so that you guys can understand just how these set plays work. But it all just comes back to the foundations that I talked about early in the video. So that is what I know about zone entries. That's everything that I use involving them. Maybe you do things that I don't do. Feel free to let the rest of us know what you know in the comments below. As always, I'm happy to answer any kind of questions that you guys have so that you can be better at NHL 20. And also feel free to suggest me what you want to see in future videos, and I'll be sure to cover those topics another time.